4040 here with another ship's roster review, and today I'm taking a look at Kenobi 88, also known as Obi Meme Kenobi, in the Porkins Alliance. So, Kenobi, what do you need in order to put together a good fleet for yourself? Well, first off, and one of the most important things is having a good capital ship. Honestly, the capital ship I think you should have is Chimera. However, you do not currently have him. What is going to be required to get him is a 7-star home 1 and and 5 7-star rebel ships, 2 of which have to be the Ghost and Phantom. You looks like you're working on Ghost and Phantom, which is good. I'm going to suggest them for other things in the game as well. On top of that, you are working on Biggs, which is great, but you need to have 2 other rebel ships on your radar so you can get the Chimera at least 5-star, because it's still a great ship at 5-star, in order to use in your fleet. Till then, the best capital ship for you to be using is Executrix. However, you need to be putting equal work into Executrix and your home 1. You should be working on getting both of these guys up to 7-star. Executrix has to be put up anyway so that you can complete the event in order to start getting Zetas. So that's one important thing to keep in mind. And it looks like you're already putting some work into it, which is great. On top of that, Home 1 is the best of the 2 light side capital ships right now. It's going to be really helpful for things like territory battles. So putting equal work, making sure you're gearing up Akbar to probably at least gear 10 and gear up Grand Moff Tarkin all the way, just because he's on about even par with Chimera. You can generally use the same fleets with Executrix and Chimera just because they generally have similar synergy with both capital ships. Just certain ones are slightly better with the other. And you can continue to ignore endurance for the time being, apart from just putting a teeny bit of work into it so you can actually complete the challenges that go along with that capital ship. That's really the only reason to put any work into the endurance right now. It is just to complete the challenges that specifically go along with the endurance. Other than that, you can largely avoid the endurance until later in the game with ships. So let's go take a look at your fleet. For the moment, again, you should probably be using the Executrix. That's the capital ship you put the most work into, and it's going to be the best one for your fleet anyhow. And it's the second best capital ship in the game, in my opinion, which means putting work into it isn't going to be harmful at all for you. It will even work into future metas for you. So let's go take a look at the ships you have. And one of the 3 ships I wanted to suggest you put in your starting lineup of 3, you don't even have start up, and it's also an excellent reinforcement for later in the game in ships after you get past the starting fleet I normally suggest, and that's TIE Advance. TIE Advance is a starter ship. You should have it up. For the point in the game I'm guessing you're at, based off where you are with your ships, you should probably be working on farming the TIE Advance. It's one of the longer farms in ships, but it's a worthwhile farm. It's one of the best ships in the game. Definitely one of the best attackers in the game. And it just works overall. It has synergies with both of the capital ships. If there's a Sith meta in the future, it'll probably have some place in there if Sith become a big thing in ships. So it's a worthwhile investment. Problem is you currently don't have it up. And let's just maybe take a look at your Vader. Your Vader looks like you're put some work into him, which means it'll be one of your better capital ships. Go ahead and put work in Grand Admiral Thrawn just so that you don't have to later once you get the Chimera up. But that's just something to keep in mind, is you need to be farming the TIE Advance. What can you do in the midterm while you're waiting on the TIE Advanced? Well, either way, you have a great option for your tank. You just need to gear it up and finish up the last star, which is Big Dark Lighter's X-Wing. Um, Biggs is an excellent tank and ships, probably second best tank and ships right now, now that the Houndstooth is in the game. But he's the best option for a starting fleet and ships. He's basically, uh, if you look at the Phoenix squad as the best starting team for a beginner coming into this game, Biggs is the best starting tank for a new player into ships. So gearing up Biggs and finishing off his ship stars is not going to hurt you. Now, what are your attacking options? Well, uh, two great options for you for your second ship. You need to choose between the two, and one of them is honestly better with the TIE Advance on your team. That is Ghost and Imperial TIE Fighter. You don't want to put. I wouldn't suggest putting both of these on your starting lineup at the same time, but they both have their uses. Imperial TIE Fighter is going to have some synergy with Grand Moff Tarkin and the Executrix as your capital ship, which is great. It's going to be dealing out more damage. It has target lock on its basic, and as long as you use the special at least once, probably as your first move, you should be getting out at least one dodge with it to give your capital ship more turn meter, which is fantastic. It's more of an RNG based ship with the amount of turn meter you get off of it overall, but still an excellent ship in the game. So I suggest going after. On top of that, you already have it gear 10, which probably makes it a great starting ship in your fleet for you at this moment in time. Just gotta work on those stars and go ahead and gear up more. The big one here that you do need to gear up though is Biggs, just because Biggs is a really good tank and it's going to give Biggs more health, which is really important. The third ship that you need on your starting lineup right now is TIE Silencer. Problem with TIE Silencers best on offense and doesn't make as good of a defensive fleet. It does work on defense, it's not as good as a TIE Advanced. Um, but I do suggest using it for the moment as I think it'll work in place of it. Now, what you can do with the Ghost is you can use the Ghost to stealth the TIE Advance if you use it over Imperial TIE Fighter. But if you do that, you probably need to work on gearing up your Phoenix more. And that's not going to hurt for things like light side territory battles or for a more minor team in the Sith raid. Phoenix does make a decent team, and I don't remember which tier, but they are useful there. So that's why I'm suggesting for your starting three. Now, if you get past your starting fleet three, you need to be worried about reinforcements. What are some current great reinforcements for you to be using? Then what are some to go after in the future? Because right now you're more limited by what you have. The first one that no matter what you want to invest in is going to be the Phantom 2. The Phantom 2 is, in my opinion, the best reinforcement in the game because of its ability, Covert Strike right here, which you need to max out immediately. This should be your next. You should be working on getting the 75 reinforcement ability mats to put in it now because this is going to be reducing the reinforcement call abilities by one on your capital ship, which means you're going to be able to bring in immediately another ship in the turn after you bring in the Phantom 2, which is going to really work in your favor. The other thing here is maximum impact, which is going to deal a ton of damage. It can deal between 80 to 100k in damage, which can wipe out some ships off the board for you. And you have Ezra Gear 12, so there's no reason you shouldn't be putting some ability mats into that to be trying to get more damage out of it. On top of that, you should gear up Sabine and Chopper and 7-star Sabine so that you can get more use out of the Phantom, be doing more damage, and have more health on this ship. The Phantom 2 is an excellent ship, and it's currently a meta reinforcement Many people use it on their reinforcements, and it's one that's going to really aid you. Now, what are some other options? Well, if you're using Phantom 2 as a reinforcement, you just go with TIE Fighter and find TIE Fighter to be a better start with you, which it probably is. Go with the Ghost as a reinforcement. Ghost has synergies with Phantom. You bring it out right after the Phantom, and just work off their synergies with each other. Or some of these synergies come with, I think, maxing out like the unique abilities on them, like Chopper does it all, or distraction tactics. I think, yeah. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. But is these two ships have some synergy? Now, what are the other things you got to work with? Let's just look at your toolkit. Well, based off your gear for characters, your really only two other options right now are going to be First Order TIE Fighter, Millennium Falcon, and Jedi Consular. However, I think, you only have 4-star capital ships, which thinks you mean you can only have 2, maybe 3 reinforcements. So Phantom 2, Ghost, then I'm not sure. I would probably go with Millennium Falcon Episode 7 for the moment for you. But it's not a good long run one. Like, I think the First Order TIE Fighter here, if you put more gear and work into it, would be a much better reinforcement over Millennium Falcon Episode 7, or even Jedi Consular, maybe, would be a better pick over Millennium Falcon Episode 7. Is more like General Grievous, and it's a cool ship to have, and it can deal a decent amount of damage, but it's not the best. It's more just a show-off ship to have. But it does have some uses, and if you're finding it to be better for you right now, that's great. Continue using it. But I think in the long run, you're not going to want it. However, it does have one important use in the game. If you want to work on finish 7-starring it, it's a very important use. And Phantom 2 and Ghost both have these uses as well. And they're all 3 cargo ships. There's only 5 cargo ships in the game right now. So having all these guys maxed out in order to be able to complete that cargo battle will be able to help you speed up your farming of reinforcement mats and that sort of thing in ships, which is going to be very important going in the future. They're basically like the scoundrels of ships that they're necessary to have to speed up your future in ships, but at the same time, you don't really want to do them. But I do suggest going after them for that reason. Lando's Millennium Falcon's same thing. Getting that up would help with cargo ships. And it's actually a pretty good 4th reinforcement. But I'm not going to suggest you go after that. For the future, some things to think about. Again, working on getting up your home 1 for Chimera. That needs to be a focus. You also need to make sure you balance it out with the Executrix, since your Executrix is going to be your current capital ship. Things to keep in mind with capital ships is a unique / leadership, whatever you want to call it, like victory at all costs, are the most important abilities to work on, as they're going to give an overall buff to your whole team. With home 1, that's going to be band together here. So keep those in mind. Those are the most important abilities to get up on your capital ships, because they give an overall buff. But work on home 1 to get Chimera. Next goal, farm TIE Advance. TIE Advance is going to be a very important ship for you to get up, and you've already put some work into Darth Vader, so it's not going to hurt you at all to get it up. Gearing Phoenix. Gearing Phoenix is a very important thing to keep in mind. Next important thing to keep in mind, what's the future meta of ships going to be? Well, currently, there's 2 options for you to follow. Geos, they're a little bit weaker, but they're still meta. It's basically like your Dark Treya to your Jedi Knight Revan. Jedi Knight Revan's full out meta, but Dark Treya is still pretty heavily in the meta as well. So Heavy meta right now is bounty hunters, but geos are basically the triad to the bounty hunters. They still work really well overall. However, you may not want to go after geos, and I understand that they're not the most effective route in the game for getting other things. They're really only useful in ships right now, which means you want to go after bounty hunters. To go after bounty hunters, you're going to need the ghost. So no matter what, right now it looks like you need to be working on the ghost, which means those characters are going to be important to gear. On top of that, that means you're going to need Xanadu Blood, Slave One, and Houndstooth. Houndstooth is the best tank in ships right now, and Bosk is basically necessary in order to get a 7-star Chewbacca. So that's not going to hurt. You're going to want Boba Fett to get a 7-star Chewbacca as well. And Slave One's one of the best reinforcements in the game right now. You could easily replace your third reinforcement slot and put Slave One in there, as he's that great of a reinforcement. On top of that, Xanadu Blood, Cad Bane may not be the best bounty hunter, but you already got him 7-star, and he has a darn good ship, and he will help you hopefully get Chewbacca sooner rather than later. If you're going to work on them, you could always put some work into the IG-2000 and IG-88. Looks like you're already starting IG-88. Though he's not as good as others, he may be useful as a reinforcement to bring in. Just keep in mind. And if you want to use that fleet in the future, you're going to need the Executrix. So I do suggest you farm Bosk and the Houndstooth, just because those are excellent ships, and you're going to run into trouble facing other Houndstooths in the future if you don't go after them. So that's just something to keep in mind. However, for the moment, you gotta work with the tools you got. But you have to develop out your other tools in your toolbox. And it looks like you have a really good arena team right now, which means you can put some focus into your ships and get some of those ships up. Xanadu Blood will hopefully be free to play soon, which means you can 7-star that ship up. And Houndstooth is already free to play. He's just in a hard node, but you can go ahead and work on that as well. And to be honest with you, nearly every ship in this game has some use you can find somewhere. I mean, First Order is great as an attacking fleet from what I hear. Most ships have a use in the game that you can find. Some of them are not as great as others, like Resistance X-Wing here, but overall they all have some minor use in the game. So I could really suggest nearly every ship to you, but I'm obviously not going to. I hope I've come up with some great suggestions for you. Just as a reminder for your current fleet, you should probably be going with the Executrix with Biggs Dark Glider, TIE Silencer, and probably the Imperial TIE Fighter as your starting lineup, with Phantom 2, Ghost, and like Millennium Falcon or First Order TIE Fighter as reinforcements. And just make sure you're putting your reinforcement abilities into the ones you're using as reinforcements. And then with the Executrix, make sure you're leveling up Victory at all costs over the other abilities, and also try to find 2 other Rebel ships you can farm, like Wedge or Cassian G-Wing or Biston G-Wing, in order to work on getting towards a 7-star Chimera as you're slowly working on your home 1 here, because that's going to be really important. I hope my insights helped you out, Kenobi. If you have any questions, just reach out to me on Discord. You know where to find me. I'm on there all the time. Bye.